Devotional. Waiting on the Lord in strength and courage. Psalm 27:14. Wait for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart be encouraged. Yes, wait for the Lord. This verse calls us to wait on God with an active attitude, striving and being courageous in the process. Waiting on the Lord is not passive or inactive, but a waiting full of faith, strength, and hope. In a world that demands quick answers and immediate solutions, learning to wait patiently on God becomes a challenge, but also an opportunity to see how He works in our lives in powerful ways. 1. The call to hope in God. The psalmist instructs us to wait for Jehovah. Waiting on God means putting our full trust in Him, knowing that His timing and purpose are perfect. We don't always understand God's plans or the reason for difficulties, but the act of waiting on Him is an act of faith. This waiting is not passive, but active, in which we seek His will, trust in His sovereignty, and press forward in hope, knowing that He will fulfill what He has promised. 2. Strive and be encouraged in the process. The verse also calls us to strive and to encourage our hearts. This call is not to be discouraged or give up, but to strengthen us in our faith and courage. Waiting on God often involves periods of challenge, but He gives us the strength to continue. This effort is not in our own strength, but in the strength He gives us through His Spirit. As we wait, it encourages us to keep our spirits up, to be courageous, and to keep moving forward with determination. 3. The reward of waiting on God. Waiting on the Lord always has a reward. Not only does God give us the strength to persevere, but in the end, He acts in His perfect timing. When we trust in His will and wait for His intervention, we experience His faithfulness. As we wait, we grow closer to Him, learn to depend on His power, and see how He works in our lives in amazing ways. Practical applications. 1. Strengthen your faith in times of waiting. When you are faced with times of uncertainty or delays in your prayers, remember that waiting on God is an act of faith. Strive to trust Him, even when you don't see immediate answers. Find comfort and strength in His presence. 2. Keep your heart encouraged. Waiting can bring despair, but Psalm 27 verse 14 encourages us to keep our hearts encouraged. Find encouragement in the promise that God is at work in your life, and that His timing is perfect. Remember His faithfulness in the past to nourish your hope for the future. 3. Trust in God's perfect timing. Don't rush or make rash decisions due to impatience. Trust that God has a perfect plan for your life and that, in His timing, He will reveal to you what you need to know or what you need to do. Conclusion. Psalm 27:14 calls us to wait on God with active faith, effort, and courage. Waiting on God does not mean being inactive or desperate, but it invites us to strengthen our trust in Him, to be courageous in the midst of uncertainty, and to await His intervention with a heart full of hope. In the end, the reward of waiting on Him is great, as it allows us to experience His faithfulness and see Him work in our lives in ways we could not have imagined. In every moment of waiting, may we remember that the Lord is with us, strengthening and guiding us in His perfect timing.